there are these 4 yellow buttons. These are the C buttons, and if you notice on them they each have a direction, the up, down, left, right. When you press them, the buttons don't rotate, and the reason for that is that they are mounted inside little grooves. Only one button will go in a specific place, and they all have little notches. That stops the button from rotating. So what we're going to do is utilize these 4 existing holes into the case so that we can use the same buttons and they also will not rotate. Now if you notice one slight thing with this, the shape of these in the case are more of a diamond. In the portable that I'm doing, which I made in this shape on purpose, they're more in this sort of format. Reason being, I thought that was a little bit on the clumsier side, and also, as you notice, it wouldn't fit in any case. So what I'm going to do is to cut out each of these surrounds, and then exactly as we did before with the joystick, we're going to cut away some of the thickness of this plastic so that the buttons stay at about the same height through the case. This is one thing I referred to in a previous video, but one of the reasons I like using this SuperPad 64 Pro is the fact that, as you see, the layer where the buttons hold on is smooth, it's flat, so therefore the buttons aren't at angles. My portable's flat, this is flat, that's why I'm using the buttons particularly. The technique for cutting through this is quite simple but fairly brutal. It effectively involves using a Dremel with a drill bit and then cutting through very carefully all of these particular parts out, and then we're going to sand it down. So it's fairly brutal, but the method is to start in a place where you know is safe. Make the hole slightly bigger than you need to. And this technique, of course, you can use for cutting through any types of plastics. And then put the drill through the hole. Sorry, I'm having to work at a bit of an angle here. And then run the drill bit along the perimeter. We're then going to work our way around. You can see the effect in any case. It gets rid of the sides nice and easily, and so that we're then going to smooth it through. Here's the first one completed. I'll just pop it out. Now I'm going to do the other ones. And then, as you see here, there's about 2mm thickness of this plastic which goes towards the case. This will be trimmed right down to close to the edgings. I'm going to use a sanding drum on the Dremel because I've got good accuracy with that, and exactly as I did with the joystick, the difference that we're going to lose from this will be accommodated by the thickness of the case. Therefore the button will protrude to about the same thickness. I do quite like to show people different options. After all, there's no definitive way of making a portable. One of the usual ways of mounting buttons into cases, of course, is to use an existing controller, cut out the part, retaining what was originally there, and then using some Bondo or something similar to fill up the case to try and make it look good. That's great and it works very effectively, but certainly the times I've tried it, it's taken a fair bit of time to get it nice and level. And even when you finish, if you look really closely, you can see very, very tiny imperfections. For example, it doesn't quite 100% meet, and it might only be like a 1/16 of a millimetre or something absolutely minute, but you can still see it even after you painted. That is one option, but that's why I tend to work on the other basis of making the buttons suit what I require. And so a good example was what we were talking about previously, where the holes from the controller were too wide, and of course with my method you can utilize any buttons of any size that you require. So back onto what we were talking about. There's a comparison between what we started with and what I've ended up with, and you can see the difference in terms of thickness. That was just cut down with a sanding drum and then rolled around on a piece of sanding paper just to make sure it's nice and smooth and level and as low as we sensibly can go down to. And so this is where we finished. I'm now going to repeat it for the others, and then using the same process as we had before for making the D-pad assembly, I'm going to utilise the same type of principle to make it work for this. Here are the C buttons, made in the same way as I did with the D-pad, and that the button assemblies were secured around, hot glued in place, tack switches hot glued on top with the little holes through for the pins which are going to be soldered, and some screw posts on each of the four corners, just hot glued in place. If we turn this to the front, you can see there's plenty of buttons showing through, very similar in fact to the amount that we had on the original controller. And if we press the buttons, they look and feel just like the original pad, nice and mushy feel. So here's the A and B buttons installed along with the start, and the start was taken from one of the in fact it's one of the A and B buttons off the NES controller. I chose it because it's a bit smaller and it's red, and I think it looks quite nice. As you see, all this part is now installed and ready. On the negative side, I should have put the joystick across more closer towards the edge than it is, and the same with the A and B buttons. The reason for that, just using one of the older PlayStation screen boards I've got, I was just intending to remove this part of the grounding and a millimetre or so off the edge here. Because of what I've done here, I need to go further into the board and rewire. It's not a big issue, and it's nothing that you need to do, but because I've effectively made this little error, I need to compensate and put the matter right. On a positive note, this is what the front of the console looks like so far. I'm actually very pleased with it. It looks very nice. The joystick moves very freely. Of course there's a D-pad, the C buttons which press nice and squishy, and the A and B, and so there is a start. I think it looks very attractive. It's nice and easy to use. When the backing of the case is on, it's going to be very easy to hold and to utilise. So I just need to spend a little bit of time now and sort out the back of the screen board.